one of the reasons, that impact was so double that day is because of the misogyny and the racism that is so deeply rooted and animated.
because that argument between Rihanna and Chris Brown was allegedly over a text message and not an email. But that woman did go on to threaten legal action against anybody spreading those rumours, probably something an innocent person would do, right? And following this, the media and fans have pretty clearly taken their sides, with most people rushing to Rihanna's support and many people looking to boycott Chris Brown for his terrible actions. But bizarrely, within a few weeks of this incident, Chris Brown and Rihanna reunited, for some reason, at Diddy's mansion. And P. Diddy bizarrely appeared on The Ellen Show not long after this to try and justify his decision. Well, after dancing for an entire minute. Ellen was giving Puff Daddy a hard time for allowing Chris and Rihanna to meet, especially after the fact that she had banned Chris from her show. But it seems that Puffy was pretty adamant that there were always two sides to the story, and he was just trying to help the couple get some understanding.
There's a lot of talk going on with Chris Brown being at your place in Miami, and you arranging Chris and Rihanna getting back together.
I'm the type of person that I don't cast a stone or cast a judgment on anybody, as long as I know that the energy of the favor is positive for two people to sit down and talk about a situation that they're in.
And it looked like Diddy, aka Puffy, aka Swag, aka Brother Love, had done wonders. And by March 2009, only a month after the incident, many people were reporting that Chris Brown and Rihanna had reconciled and were getting back together. Though they had decided to keep this relationship as private as possible, apparently causing some friction amongst their respective teams. They were allegedly holding late-night recording sessions, working on a makeup duet. But the Chris Brown-Rihanna makeup story was about to get a little more complicated. Enter King of the Fuckboys, Drake. Drake reported being overwhelmed after first meeting Rihanna at 2009 at a birthday party, riding high on the success of his hit single, Best I Ever Had. A couple months after the rumoured Chris Brown and Rihanna makeup story, in May of 2009, Drake and Rihanna were actually spotted together at the Lucky Strike Lanes bowling alley in New York. The story goes that they spent the night together, sipping whiskey and apple juice and sneaking the occasional kiss before leaving together. But Drake denied it was anything more than a friendship a few days later and kept things pretty much hush-hush in the months that followed. A month after that, Chris Brown is back in court pleading guilty to the original charges stemming from the Rihanna case.
Your attorney has advised the court that you wish to enter or plead guilty to that charge. Is that correct? Yes.
He avoids jail time but does end up getting 6 months of community service and a counselling program. And even Rihanna appeared in court. One of the weird things about this whole debacle is the fact that it took Chris around 5 months after the actual incident to publicly speak on this, eventually releasing this too little too late apology onto his website.
I grew up in a home where there was domestic violence, and I saw firsthand what uncontrolled rage could do. I have sought and I'm continuing to seek help to ensure that what occurred in February can never happen again. And as I sit here today, I can tell you that I would do everything in my power to make sure that it never happens again, and I promise that. What I did was unacceptable, 100%. I can only ask and pray that you forgive me, please.
And Chris Breezy kept the "I'm sorry for beating my famous girlfriend" press tour going for a couple months. At the end of August, Chris Brown appears on the Larry King Show for a heart-to-heart chat. Well, the kind of heart-to-heart chat you have to have with your mother and lawyer present. He appears telling his story and recounting that he still loves Rihanna.
You love her? Definitely.
But interestingly, he refuses to discuss the cause of the argument that evening, and he at no point acknowledges the alleged text from the older woman that he was supposedly having a relationship with. But by November, Rihanna decides to go on a little press run of her own. First, she stopped in with Diane Sawyer on Good Morning America to spill the beans on Chris Brown, saying that he was her first love, but she'd made a mistake in going back to him after the abuse.
It's embarrassing that that's the type of person that I fell in love with. So far in love. So unconditional that I went back.
Meanwhile, that same month, Rihanna was being interviewed by Angie Martinez, and she got pressed on whether or not something was going on between her and Drake. Rihanna proceeded to put Drake firmly in the friend zone.
And was there no truth to Drake?
No, me and Drake, we're friends. We're still friends, actually.
And you hung out a couple of times?
Yeah, a few times.
Did you play with the idea a little? Were you checking him out?
No.
I think you were checking him out. I think you were eyeballing the situation to see.
No, me and Drake,
a little bit.
No, we weren't. No.
Slightly.
But someone must have not given Drizzy the little friend zone memo, because in November, he told XXL's Doing Lines column that the rumours that him and Rihanna dating had been semi-true. I got semi just thinking about it, Drake. Going into 2010, in February, Drake and Chris Brown were still on pretty good terms. And whilst performing at the Virginia Commonwealth University in Chris Brown's hometown, Drake actually brought Chris out as a surprise guest. And then in May, Drake's hit song Fireworks dropped, which had lyrics alluding to that night that he'd spent with Rihanna after appearing at the Lucky Strike Lane. But it looked like Drake didn't actually have those bases covered, and it quickly emerged that Rihanna had actually been dating the baseball player Matt Kemp. In response to this, Drake, feeling a little bit salty about the whole Rihanna situation, decides to spill the beans to a New York Times reporter in June, saying that he felt like he'd been a pawn in Rihanna's game, and that she'd done to him what he had done to so many women before her. But Drake quickly backtracked, realizing that being salty in public doesn't really help your chances of getting back at Rihanna, does it? So he quickly backtracked and clarified his comments, saying that he wasn't trying to come across as negative, he was just overwhelmed by Rihanna. Alright, Drake. This same month, Drake and Chris are spotted in the club together looking like chums, despite reports that Chris had actually been turned away from Drake's album listening party. And by the 29th, Drake reveals to Extra that he had been in the studio with Chris Brown, while simultaneously denying rumours that he'd been dating Rihanna. So still, no bad blood between these two yet. Then in October 2010, Drake features on Rihanna's hit song, What's My Name, which pops Drake's Billboard cherry, giving him his first #1 and Rihanna her 8th #1. Then in November, Drake continues spreading his creative juices and duly slips Chris Brown a couple of fingers, providing a verse for the remix of his song, Deuces. Not long after that, Rihanna finally comes out and acknowledges her fling with Drake, saying that she was attracted to him at the time, but she didn't want to take things any further because she was still feeling fragile after the whole Chris Brown situation. But apparently, even at this point, as the love triangle begins to cement itself into place, knowing that somebody has brutally beaten up the girl that you're in love with isn't quite enough to mess up the money. And Chris Brown is pictured sitting alongside Drake and the entire Young Money crew of Unpayables at a basketball game. Things got quiet for a few months until 2011 at the Grammys, when we see Drake and Rihanna perform a steamy rendition of their song on stage. But mothers, lock up your daughters because Chris Brown's restraining order on Rihanna is finally lifted, baby. Let's get back together. Now, a month after the restraining order is lifted, Chris Brown makes an appearance on Good Morning America and is grilled about the Rihanna situation once again.
I mean, it's not really a big deal to me now as far as that situation. I think I'm past that in my life, and I think today's the album day, so that's what I'm focused on. So everybody go get that album. Definitely this album is what I want them to talk about, and not that stuff that happened 2 years ago.
Allegedly, Chris was so angry after this interview that he threw a massive tantrum in the dressing room and even smashed a window with a drinks cooler. Guess he really couldn't keep his cool, eh? Chris Brown was dragged out a day later to once again apologize and try and justify his shitty behavior.
First and foremost, I want to apologize to anybody who was startled in the office, anybody who was offended or really looked disappointed at my actions, because I was disappointed in the way I acted. And you know, a lot of people don't know what went down.
But despite Chris's seemingly ongoing violent outburst, he must be a changed man, because in May, Rihanna and Chris Brown start following each other on Twitter once again, and Chris seems to accidentally tweet at Rihanna saying, "Did you get that pic that I sent you?" which supposedly should have been a DM. Well, the internet didn't like this, and it didn't take long for the army of Rihanna fans to rush to her help and begin taunting Chris Brown for being a woman beater. Chris sent a handful of hilariously bad replies trying to defend himself before duly deleting his account. A month later, it seems like the seeds between the Drake and Chris Brown's beef are beginning to be sowed. Chris releases a remix to Drake's song Marvin's Room that seems to take on the opposite perspective of the original song, and Chris takes on the role of a side piece that's having a phone conversation with Drake's girlfriend. And a lot of people begin to speculate that this whole song is about Chris, Drake, and Rihanna. This speculation isn't helped by the fact that Drake then comes out in Elle magazine in October, saying that he's still in his feelings about Rihanna and reminding everyone that she was the first female celebrity to pay him any attention, describing himself as just a naive kid from Toronto. Sorry, can you even imagine a time in hip-hop when Drake, with a straight face, can portray himself as a naive kid from Toronto? Now he's just the twat who has a tattoo